This happened about 6 months ago. I was a 32-year-old freelance graphic designer, working late nights in my small apartment. I often felt alone. The internet was my way to connect, even if it was just typing to strangers. One night, I was scrolling through an anonymous chat forum. I needed a break, and that's when I saw a message. It was strange, talking about my deepest fears. At first, I thought it was a joke. But the same user kept messaging me. It started to feel uneasy. They knew things about my life that I had never shared. My heart raced. For weeks, things got weirder. The messages would come right when I felt vulnerable. I'd be sitting alone, feeling down, and suddenly, a message would pop up. At first, I told myself it was a coincidence. But then I noticed small things shifting in my apartment. A cup was moved. My laptop wasn't where I left it. This happened often, and it made my skin crawl. One day, I went to grab coffee. As I walked down the street, I noticed someone who looked familiar. A face I recognized from my online chats. They were staring at me. I turned to look closer, but the person vanished into the crowd. A chill ran down my spine. Was someone really watching me? I didn't want to tell anyone. Who would believe me? The thought of disconnecting crossed my mind, but I couldn't. The internet felt like a lifeline. Then it got worse. I started seeing more faces that looked familiar. They were strangers, but somehow, I felt like I knew them. I began to feel anxious, always looking over my shoulder. I wanted to ask a friend what was going on, but I was scared. I didn't want to make it real. One night, sitting in my dimly lit apartment, I got another message from that same stranger. My heart was pounding. The message read, "I can see you." I felt cold. That moment changed everything. Looking around, I felt shadows creeping closer. I wanted to hide. I didn't know what to think. My fingers trembled as I replied, "Who are you?" There was silence. A moment of stillness. Then my phone buzzed again. The message said, "What are you afraid of?" My heart dropped. I felt trapped in my own apartment. I was scared but needed answers. Did they even exist, or was it all in my head? I kept thinking of those faces, the messages, and that creepy feeling of being followed. I tried to brush it off. But in a crowded city, I felt more alone than ever. I wanted to scream, wanted to run away, but I couldn't escape the web woven by unknown hands. I stared at my phone, waiting for another message, wondering if the next one would pull me deeper into darkness. What was this stranger's game, and what did they want from me? The questions haunted me as I sat there, frozen in fear. I spent the entire night on edge, trying to shake off the feeling of dread that had settled over me. My phone sat on the table, buzzing occasionally with messages from friends who had no idea what was happening in my life. I couldn't bring myself to reply. Who could I trust with this? I felt isolated, as if the walls of my apartment were closing in. Come morning, I decided to take a walk. Maybe some fresh air would clear my mind. I threw on a jacket and stepped outside, hoping the sunlight would provide some comfort. But even the bright day did little to ease my anxiety. I felt exposed, as if someone could spot me from miles away. As I walked, I kept my eyes peeled for familiar faces in the crowd, waiting for someone to make me anxious again. I ducked into a coffee shop, hoping the buzz of people would drown out my thoughts. As I waited in line, I felt a presence behind me. I turned quickly, and for a heartbeat my heart stopped. It was the person I had seen before, the one who dematched a face from my chats. They were looking straight at me. I froze. The barista called my order, but I couldn't move. The figure stepped closer, and I saw their eyes locked onto mine. It was unsettling. "What do you want?" I finally managed to stammer. The stranger smiled, but it didn't reach their eyes. "You have something I want," they said softly, and before I could respond, they slipped out of the shop. I rushed outside, half expecting to see them lingering, but there was nothing. Just the chaos of the city. Shaking, I took a moment to collect myself. I needed to know what that meant. Panic blurred my judgment, and I returned home, heart racing. Once inside, I tried to confront the messages again. I picked up my laptop and opened the chat forum. It felt different now, darker. The words seemed to pulse on the screen. I skimmed through old conversations, looking for anything I may have missed. And then my breath hitched. I found a message I hadn't seen before. It was hidden under an old thread. "You can't hide. I know where you are." My pulse quickened. I realized that this stranger had been watching me much longer than I had thought. My hands trembled as I suddenly felt cold, a realization creeping in from deep within. What did they mean by, where? Had they been in my apartment while I was away? Panic surged through me. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. I bolted to the locks, checking all the windows and doors, ensuring everything was secure. Just as I turned to the laptop, it flickered. The screen went black, and my heart stopped. A thought raced through my mind: had they hacked me? Suddenly, I heard a noise from the hallway. A soft thud. I froze again. Someone was in the house. The very idea paralyzed me with fear. I couldn't breathe. I had to move, I had to do something, but where could I go? Then I remembered the message. I glanced at the laptop. Had they found a way in through the chat? The thought made me feel sick. As I slowly turned toward the sound, I realized one thing: I was no longer safe in my own home. The thud echoed again, more pronounced this time. I could feel my heart racing in my chest. My palms were clammy. I didn't know who or what was there, but instinct kicked in. I had to get out of the apartment. But the thought of facing whoever was waiting for me in the hallway paralyzed me. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. I had to act. Every minute felt like an eternity. I crouched down, hoping to stay out of sight, and inched toward the closet. If I could just get behind something, maybe I could hide and wait this out. As I reached the closet door, I heard another sound. Footsteps, slow and deliberate. They were approaching my door. My mind raced with possibilities. Who was it? What did they want? I kept quiet, holding my breath, listening intently. I could hear the footsteps now, right outside my door. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again, breaking the silence like a gunshot. I cursed softly under my breath, panic washing over me. Could they hear me? I was frozen, the urge to check it battling with the sheer terror of being discovered. I cursed my luck and forced myself to forget it. The footsteps stopped. For a moment, there was complete silence. I tried to steady my breathing, focusing on every noise in the apartment. Then came a voice, low and calm. "I know you're in there." It sent chills down my spine. They knew I was home. "Just come out. We can talk," the voice insisted, dripping with a false sense of reassurance. It sounded almost too friendly. I didn't know how to respond. Talking didn't feel like a safe option. I could feel the fear claw at my stomach, trying to distract me from the plan forming in my mind. If they expected me to come out, maybe the best option was to go the opposite way. There was a window in my bedroom. I carefully made my way toward the hallway, avoiding the creaky floorboards. The tension in the air was thick enough to strangle me, but I pushed through. As I reached the bedroom door, I glanced back, half expecting the figure to appear. But they didn't. I opened the bedroom window cautiously. The sound of the hinge creaking felt deafening in the stillness. I looked down. It was a 2-story drop. Not ideal, but better than facing whoever was out there. Just as I was about to climb out, my phone buzzed again, this time a notification from the chat forum. It caught my eye, and I hesitated. Was it another message from the stranger? I couldn't ignore the thought. What if it was important? Finally, I swiped open the app, heart racing. That S when I saw it, a new message from the user ID never seen before. "I have what you're looking for." My blood ran cold. What did they mean? I didn't have time to decipher it. I took one last look at the door. It was now or never. With every ounce of strength, I climbed through the window, landing on the grass below with a hard thud. I looked back up at my apartment, my sanctuary, now a prison. But the buzzing phone and the strange message lingered in my mind, nagging at me as I made my way down the street. As I walked away, I realized one thing: the threat wasn't just inside my apartment anymore. It had followed me into the world beyond those four walls. I didn't stop walking until I was a few blocks away. My legs felt heavy, each step was a reminder of what had just happened. The night was quiet, too quiet. I kept peering over my shoulder, half expecting to see someone from my apartment searching for me. As I rounded the corner, I noticed a small cafe still lit up, its inviting glow promising warmth. I hesitated for a moment but then crossed the street and pushed open the door. The scent of coffee and baked goods hit me, grounding me in the moment. It felt normal, a stark contrast to the chaos I had just escaped. I ordered a coffee and found a corner booth, my back to the wall. I pulled out my phone, needing to check that ominous message again. "I have what you're looking for." The words echoed in my mind. I needed an answer. I clicked on the notification. My heart dropped when I saw another message from the same user. "Meet me at the park across from your building. I'll explain everything." Panic surged through me. I couldn't go back there. What if whoever was in my apartment was still lurking around? But that slight glimmer of hope flickered. If they had something I wanted, something about my situation, could I ignore it? A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I remembered the voice at my door, calm and collected. How did they know I was there? Was there a connection to this message? My mind raced as I considered my options. "Hey, take it easy," the barista said, placing my coffee in front of me. I realized my hands were shaking. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I managed a weak smile and thanked her, trying to collect my thoughts. I needed to be smart about this. I could feel the tension pressing down on me like a weight. Perhaps I could go to the park, but I would make sure there were other people around, just in case. After finishing my coffee, I left the cafe. The streets felt dimmer now, shadows creeping closer as I walked. I headed toward the park with trepidation. The message lingered heavily in my mind, but so did the fear of the unknown. I wished I could just turn back, go right back to my apartment, lock the door, and pretend this night hadn't happened. When I reached the park, it was nearly empty. A flickering street lamp cast weird shadows on the path. My phone buzzed again, making me jump. I glanced down at the screen, another message. "Look behind you." My heart stopped. The world around me faded, and dread washed over me. Someone else was aware of my movements. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching. I turned slowly, scanning the darkness behind me, trembling as I fought the urge to run. Then I saw a figure emerging from the shadows. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't know who it was, but I had to know. I squinted, my heart racing as the figure stepped closer. It was difficult to make out any details. The dim light played tricks on my eyes. My instincts screamed at me to bolt, but curiosity held me in place. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice shaky. "Just someone who wants to help." The figure moved forward, the hood of a dark hoodie obscuring their face. My pulse quickened. It was a generic response, one I'd heard before. How could I trust them? "Help with what?" I pressed, inching back, my back hitting the cold metal of the park bench. "They have something you want," they said, voice steady but low. "But you have to come with me." "Who est they?" I asked, my gut twisting. I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, teetering on the brink of something dangerous. Before they could answer, my phone buzzed again. "I know you're there." The message glared at me, jolting me into action. I couldn't stay here. "Forget it," I turned to leave, but the figure lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. "Wait. You don't understand." Their grip was firm but not painful. "Please, I'm trying to protect you." "Protect me?" I yanked away, adrenaline surging through me. "From what?" "From what's coming. The truth is more complicated than you think." I stepped back, my mind racing. The truth? More complicated? Everything was already complicated enough. My gut told me to flee, but my curiosity nagged at me. What if they held the key to everything? "Just listen to me for a second," they urged, their eyes glinting in the half-light. "You've been watched. It's not safe to go home." "Watched? By whom?" But before they could answer, a group of people walked into the park, laughing and chatting loudly. The moment was shattered. I caught a glimpse of the figure's face. Their expression shifted to something more urgent, more frantic. "They're here," they whispered anxiously, glancing over their shoulder. "You need to trust me." "Now." I hesitated. The sudden noise of the group made me feel a bit safer, but I couldn't shake the tension coiling inside me. Whatever was happening felt monumental. I started, but the figure stepped closer again, urgency racing in their voice. "The truth is right in front of you. If you want to find out what happened in your apartment, you have to come with me. I promise you won't regret it." Then everything changed. A flash of movement caught my eye, a person darting out from behind a tree, their face masked, tension crackling in the air. My blood ran cold. I took a step back, realizing I was trapped. The figure reached for me one last time. "You must decide. Now." Suddenly, I had to choose: risk everything and follow them, or run back into the unknown that had pursued me all night. My mind raced with the possibilities, none of them good. But the masked person took another intimidating step forward, and I knew I had to act fast. Then everything went dark. I jolted awake, cold pavement pressing against my back. The world came rushing back, dim park lights flickering, laughter fading in the distance. I pushed myself up, scanning my surroundings. The figure was gone, and the masked person disappeared into the shadows, leaving a chilling emptiness in their wake. I blinked, disoriented. My heart thudded wildly. "What just happened?" I muttered to myself, wiping the sweat from my brow. Just then, my phone buzzed again, vibrating against the ground. I quickly grabbed it, glancing at the screen. The message was from the same number. "You didn't listen. They will come for you now." Panic surged as I remembered the urgency in the figure's voice. I could still feel the grip on my wrist, the intensity in their gaze. I was not safe. I needed to move and get out of the open. But where could I go? I took a deep breath and got to my feet, heart racing. The park felt alive, shadows shifting ominously in the corners of my vision. I hurried towards the exit, the gravel crunching beneath my feet. Each sound amplified in the stillness, echoing my fear. As I approached the park gates, I spotted a figure standing on the sidewalk outside. My stomach dropped. My mind flashed to the masked person. Was it them? I hesitated, heart pounding. The last thing I needed was to put myself in danger again. But then the figure turned, and a wave of relief washed over me. It was the barista from the cafe I visited earlier. "Hey!" she called out. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I lied, all too aware of how unconvincing I sounded. "I just got lost." Her brow furrowed, concern etched across her face. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "What's going on?" "Nothing. Just, some weird stuff happened at the park," I stammered, trying to play it cool. She stepped closer, her voice lowering. "You can trust me. I overheard something while closing up. There are rumors about someone lurking around here, watching people." My breath caught. Was this more than a coincidence? "You mean, like spying?" "Yeah, something like that." Her eyes scanned the street. "You should stick with me for a bit. It's not safe at night." I considered her offer. Maybe it was a chance to gather myself, to figure out the chaos swirling in my head. But deep down, I felt that sticking close to this barista might pull me into something much darker. Before I could respond, the sounds of footsteps echoed behind me. I turned, and my heart sank. The masked figure emerged from the shadows, stalking towards us. "You shouldn't have come here," they hissed, eyes fixed on me. "Now you'll see what happens when you don't listen." A chill rippled through me, and I knew my time to decide was running out. I had to choose, trust the barista or confront this masked person once and for all. Suddenly, a siren wailed in the distance, the sound slicing through the tension like a knife. In that moment, uncertainty boiled into desperation. I turned back to the barista, ready to take a leap into whatever came next, but then I saw something glint in the masked figure's hand. That S when I realized I had to act. I lunged toward the barista, grabbing her arm. We need to go. I pulled her toward the street, adrenaline pumping through my veins. The sirens grew louder, a beacon of hope amid the chaos. But the masked figure wasn't too far behind. You wouldn't get away that easily. Their voice was a chilling whisper, sharp enough to slice through my resolve. I kept my grip on the barista, dragging her away from the park exit. Wait! She protested, her eyes wide with alarm. What about there's no time? I shouted, glancing back. The figure was relentless, closing the distance between us. We dashed down the sidewalk, feet pounding against the concrete. Dark shadows loomed from the trees lining the street, making every rustle seem threatening. I could hear their footsteps behind us, heavy, measured, stalking. Panic rose like bile in my throat. Where do we go? The barista asked, breathless as we turned a corner, desperate to find shelter. Anywhere but here, I replied, scanning the street. That S when I saw it, a small convenience store with its neon lights buzzing, offering a flicker of safety. In there. Without thinking, we bolted toward the door. I pushed the barista inside first, following close behind. The store was sparsely stocked, but it felt like a fortress compared to the darkness outside. The moment the door shut, I leaned against it, trying to catch my breath. The fluorescent lights above hummed in the silence, and I noticed the barista's expression shift from concern to confusion. What just happened? I took a moment to compose myself. There was someone in the park. They warned me. I think they were following me. Following? She frowned, a knot forming in her brow. Why would someone do that? I don't know. I pressed my palms against my forehead, feeling the heat rising in my chest. All I know is that I've been getting these messages. They're saying I'm in danger. Before she could respond, I fished for my phone, scrolling through the recent messages. I discovered another one waiting for me. You didn't listen. The darkness is coming for you. The barista peeked over my shoulder. Who is that from? I don't know. This is the same number. My mind raced. The figure in the mask, the warnings, and now this threat, they were all connected somehow. Suddenly, the sound of the convenience store doorbell chimed, and we both turned. A customer had entered, and I felt a rush of relief. Normalcy, if only for a moment. But then I saw the person's face clearly, and my blood turned to ice. It was someone I recognized, a familiar profile from my social media feed, someone who had sent me friend requests in the past, someone I had never met in person. Creepy, right? They smiled, their gaze lingering on me. Thought we'd bump into each other eventually. I tensed, exchanging a look with the barista. The masked figure could be right outside, and now I was trapped here with someone I didn't know. Questions swirled in my mind as dread seeped back in. I found you, the stranger said, taking a slow step forward. And it looks like you brought company. Everything felt like it was unraveling again. Just when I thought I'd found a moment of safety, I realized I was deeper into the mystery than ever before. I took a step back, ready to defend myself as I prepared for whatever came next. The stranger's smile widened, a thin veneer of friendliness that only deepened my discomfort. You're not scared of me, are you? They cocked their head, eyebrows raised, as if my fear was a thrilling game to them. Who are you? I demanded, keeping my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. I glanced at the barista, who seemed just as lost in the confusion. We were two strangers trapped without allies. Our only option was to confront this newcomer together. They call me Jasper, the stranger said, amusement dancing in their voice. And I've been following your journey for a while now. I could feel my heart race. What journey? I had no idea what they were talking about. Your messages, Jasper continued. The warnings. I thought it'd be fun to see how it all unfolded in real time. The barista edged closer to me, whispering, "This isn't normal. We need to leave." Don't be so hasty, Jasper said, amusement shifting to annoyance. You don't even know what's at stake. I'm here to help. Help? I echoed, skepticism drenching my tone. By standing there with a creepy smile? Jasper's amusement faded. Listen, I know you don't trust me, but they're coming for you. That thing you saw in the park? It's part of a bigger game. I recoiled at the thought. What game? Before Jasper could respond, the flickering fluorescent lights overhead buzzed louder, illuminating shadows at the edges of the store. Something shifted in the dark, and I felt a chill creeping down my spine, warning me. For once, I wasn't imagining things. Can you hear that? I asked, urgency creeping into my voice. Jasper grimaced. We don't have time. They've tracked you here. I turned to the barista, who had gone pale. We need to hide. Where? She stammered, searching the small space for options. Behind the shelves. I pointed to the far end of the store, where a narrow gap between two aisles could offer us some cover. As we hurried toward the shelves, footsteps echoed from outside. My ears perked up, heart pounding. The door rattled, and I feared the worst. Hurry! I urged, and we scrambled behind the nearest shelf, crouching low, our breaths quick but muted. Jasper peeked out from behind the shelf, their eyes wide. It's here. I did my best to keep my breathing steady, but panic clawed at my throat. Then I heard a soft, deliberate knock at the front door, followed by silence. Is it them? I whispered. I can't tell, Jasper admitted, their voice barely above a whisper. But they know you're here. Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket, sending a jolt of panic through me. I reached for it, checking the screen despite the danger. Another message appeared. You can't hide. I will find you. My pulse quickened. Just as the reality of the situation hit me hard, I heard the door swing open with a faint creak. I know you're in here, a voice called, smooth and menacing. I pressed against the shelves, heart racing, knowing I had to figure out how to make it out alive. The walls seemed to close in as the tension mounted and dread suffocated me. I found myself wondering, was this the darkness that was coming? Would I find a way out, or was I already trapped? I held my breath, listening intently for any movement. My heart was pounding so loudly I was afraid it might give me away. What do we do? I whispered to Jasper, panic rising in my chest. Stay quiet, they hissed. And don't move. I barely dared to breathe, my mind racing through possibilities. The voice lingered in the air, laced with an unsettling calmness. Whoever was out there knew exactly what they were doing. I can feel you, the voice continued, smooth yet eerie. There's no point in hiding. This game ends now. I couldn't tell if I was ready to scream or if the urge to run was stronger. The barista's eyes darted around anxiously, her lips moving in a silent prayer. I wanted to grab her hand and tell her it would be okay, but I couldn't. Just then, the shadow moved closer to the shelves. I could see a silhouette just beyond the thin gap. My skin prickled. I was certain they would see us. We're trapped, I whispered, a knot forming in my stomach. Not yet, Jasper murmured, and I could see a glimmer of determination in their eyes. If we stay calm, we might find a way out. Suddenly, the voice spoke again, this time low and mocking. Let's make this interesting. The first to come out gets a chance at survival. A chill wound around my spine. It was a sick game. And I was the pawn. Before I could react, the figure stepped further into the light, revealing a tall individual with a hood obscuring their face. My mind raced. I needed to act fast. Jasper, now! I whispered abruptly. We both burst out from behind the shelves, and the barista screamed. The figure jerked in surprise, momentarily startled. I seized the moment and sprinted toward the back door, dragging the barista along with me. Jasper followed closely behind, their breaths sharp against my ear. My eyes darted to the door. It was locked. The tension surged as I fumbled with the handle. Come on! I urged, shaking the knob. The sound of footsteps approaching filled my ears, pushing me into a panic. Don't let it lock! Jasper shouted as they reached for the door. With a final twist, the door sprang open, and we stumbled through, tumbling onto the damp pavement outside. We hit the ground just as the figure burst through the door behind us. Run! I yelled, scrambling to my feet. The barista and Jasper followed close behind, breathless and wild-eyed. The cool night air felt electric against my skin, urging me to move faster. We darted down the street, but it was only a moment before I realized something. No destination in mind, just the urge to run. But then I felt it, an icy sense of being watched. "Where do we go?" the barista gasped, urgency rattling her voice. "Anywhere but here," I shouted, glancing over my shoulder, fear twisting my gut. That hooded figure was not far behind, shadowed by the dim streetlights. As we turned the corner, I caught a glimpse of Jasper, their expression grave. "We need to make a stand," they said, voice low but firm. "This isn't just about running anymore." That was when I realized, this wasn't the end of the game. It was just the beginning. I didn't have time to dwell on what Jasper had just said. A primal instinct kicked in. "Okay. We'll stand our ground," I replied, though the words felt hollow. "But how? We can't just confront that thing." Panic surged within me as we reached another street corner. My heart raced not just from running but from the weight of the threat looming over us. And slowly, with every drop of adrenaline, I fought to find clarity. "We need to get to a place where there are more people. Safety in numbers." Jasper nodded. "That convenience store back there. If we can lock the door, no." The barista cut in, glancing back towards the dark figure chasing us. "It's south too close. We need to keep moving." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm churning in my chest. "There's a diner just up ahead. Let us go." We sprinted toward the flickering neon sign shining through the darkness, hope flickering alongside it. The shadows hung heavier around us, and I could feel the eyes of that masked figure boring into my back. We reached the diner, and shoved the door open with a desperate force. The jingle of the bell barely registered over the din of clattering dishes and chatter at the counter. I didn't pause but barreled inside, looking back only briefly to see if we were being followed. "Everyone, this way!" I called out, ushering the barista and Jasper towards a booth at the far end of the diner. I kept my gaze critiquing the entrance, waiting for that hooded figure to slip through. The moment felt poised, suspended like a breath held. Suddenly, the diner door swung wide open, and the bell jingled with a dreadful cheer. I braced myself as the masked figure stepped in, casting a long shadow across the linoleum flooring. My heart raced, but the sudden silence that took over the diner caught me off guard. It was as if the world had collectively held its breath. "Do you know this person?" a voice called from the counter, a waitress looking at me with alarm. "That's not just anyone," Jasper shouted, pointing a finger. "They're dangerous. Call the police." I couldn't stand still, unmoving tension enveloped me. The figure stood at the door, head tilted slightly. "Interesting choice of refuge," it drawled, voice smooth yet cold. "But you know this won't change anything. You've been on a path you can't escape." "Get back!" I yelled, instinctively moving in front of the barista and Jasper. The diner's patrons exchanged anxious glances, confusion spreading like ripples through a pond. The figure took a step forward, and my instincts flared. The weight of fear battled with stubborn defiance deep inside me. I remembered the threats, the messages, and the game unfolding long before I realized. "Leave us alone!" I shouted, my voice hoarse with uncertainty. "It's not about you choosing freedom," the figure replied, a taunting smile evident even behind the mask. "You've set this in motion. And while you can run, you can't deny what's real." A chilling silence crept through the diner, thickening the air around us. Panic made me act without thinking. I turned to Jasper and the barista. "We need to escape the back," I whispered quickly, gauging their eyes, both filled with a mixture of fear and determination. Jasper nodded, an understanding passing between us that propelled me forward. "Go!" While everyone in the diner still stared at the figure, we moved toward the back door, careful not to draw attention as the heavy breaths of anticipation surrounded us. I pushed the door open, only to see the crisp outside air, a fleeting escape beckoning to us. But we didn't turn to look back. As we fled the diner, I could feel the shadows elongating again, that specter still looming over me, whispering of unresolved truths. What now? The barista asked breathlessly. Keep moving until we find somewhere safe, I said, but I knew I sounded less convincing than I wished. I could still feel the dark presence watching us, eavesdropping on our hurried breaths. We decided to head towards the more populated areas of the city, hoping the crowds would help shield us from whatever was hunting us. Footsteps echoed behind us, but I dared not look back until we reached a busy square, where the sounds of laughter and distant music filled the air. I'm tired of running, I murmured as we paused near a fountain, adrenaline still coursing through me. I want to confront this. But how? Jasper turned to face me, their expression serious. Maybe it's time to turn the game back on them. If they want to play, we'll figure out how to beat it. That spark of defiance ignited something within me. I summoned the courage I needed, drawing the others closer. All right then, I said, voice steady but low. If this is a game, let us find that truth. I'll confront the shadow chasing me. Are you sure? The barista asked, her eyes wide. What if it's too dangerous? I can't keep running, not anymore. It ends tonight. My voice trembled not with a fear of the unknown but with fierce determination. I glanced around, familiar faces swarming us with excitement. Did they have eyes on me? Would they judge what I was about to embrace? But those uncertainties melted away. Let us break the cycle, I said, turning back toward the darkness lurking nearby. Whatever this is, we'll find the truth together. Without fear. With every ounce of resolve, I stepped forward, ready to confront the masked figure waiting just beyond the glow of the lights. The answers may not have been clear, and the shadows still clothed in uncertainty, but I would not let them dictate my fate any longer.